1, 2. Please go close the door, Shayna. Shayna, please. Shayna. One, 2. Okay. Let's check that we are receiving. Okay. Questions. Okay. It's public. Alright, so I guess apparently there's 2 people watching. Sorry for my pretty mute on this computer. Okay. Yeah, let's do this. Alright. Apologies for my sickness. I have the sick. I got the sick. It's not fun. I'm quite sick at the moment, so there will be a couple of sniffles here and there. But I guess let's just hop straight into the show file. It's probably the quickest way to do this. Trying to think what's the best way. Alright, let's just get into a show file and start working. Are there 2 people actually watching? If you are watching, like, put something in the comments to say that you are here watching and that everything, all the audio and video and everything is coming through fine. You know what this is? Oh, let's just check that everything is good here. Stream resumed. Okay, we have no dropped frames. Streaming at about 5,000 kilobits per second. I think, okay, let's just jump into it. Sorry about the stream kind of cutting out there for a bit. I was just trying to figure something out. Obviously, what I'm going to start doing is I'm just going to start going through a patch, or not a patch, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to just start, I've loaded in my show file here. I'm going to save this and I'm going to start going through it as if it were a new show. So let's just save this show as Livestream. Enter. Now let's go into partial show read. Let us take that one. I want the nice easy one. Okay, so now let's just select everything we're going to need. Alright, so maybe I should talk through a bit more of what I'm doing here. It's probably a better idea to freaking do that patch. Okay, cool. So what I've done here is I've taken my base show file, which is this one over here, and I've just saved it as a new show file. So I'm obviously not overriding the blank show file, so I've still got that to work with. So I guess let's just don't save it. The one thing I'm really happy about with my show file is you'll see in a second when it loads in, every screen goes to layout view with Rick and Morty. Is anyone else here a Rick and Morty fan? No, maybe. Okay. Obviously, as I go through, if you have any questions, just put them down in the comments, and I'm trying my best to monitor it, but it is in the corner on another laptop. So I will during the stream occasionally use the keyboard shortcuts since I'm just used to them, and will also occasionally drink. Let me know if there's any audio problems as well. As I said earlier, I am quite a bit sick at the moment, so I will have to take quite a few drinks during the stream just so that I don't die. But okay, let's just get straight into this. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into setup and setup. No, not setup. Back up because I've already done that, and we're going to go partial show read. So once I'm in partial show read, I'm going to find the show that I want to do. So I'm just going to use this one. This is a show I just mess around with for fun. I'm going to load that. So it's going to run it, and then I'm going to obviously just get everything that I need. Not those, because this show. Yes, I'm going to say use other and use other stage. Then just say prepare. And while that happens, we just leave it. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to press my macro at the bottom here that says play, and that just throws me straight back into play mode. Sorry. And then I'm going to get to work creating. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have to create, get the system to auto create groups for me. So that I'm just a menu. So I'm going to go setup, auto create, find what I want. So it's going to be Sharpies, and that's going to be a group 30. Create all merge. Then it is going to be the spots at group 31. Merge, and then I don't have wash 32 or wash. So there's going to be the LEDs at group 34. And then it is going to be the atomics at 36. Auto create 36. Create all. Merge, and the blinders, which I've just got as dim as at 30. No, not 36. 37. 37. Okay. Auto create blinders 37. Create all merge. Cool. Now what I've done is I've created all of these, and the reason I've done this is if I go to my stage view, I can then press this one macro that auto creates the views for me, except for the atomics and the blinders. I've got to go rewrite that macro a bit later. Blinders, cool. So the only thing is, unfortunately, I haven't got it set up yet where it will automatically set it up as a stage view. So I do have to do that. Apply, zoom to fit, setup, spot, setup, camera, apply, zoom to fit, setup. Why did it do that? Ooh, fuck. Okay, no, that's fine. LED, yep, zoom to fit, setup, camera, apply, zoom to fit, and then just Control D and delete those. Then atomics, camera, apply, zoom to fit, and blinders, setup, camera, apply, zoom to fit. And I guess I need to do this one still, but let me take all of them and store them all to this view over here and just name that stage. Go into that, setup, camera, apply, zoom to fit, setup, Control D, delete all of those, zoom to fit, and move. Okay, cool. So yeah, the stage is a bit slanted right now. That's just because of how it is in 3D. If I go and pan up here, you can see the stage, and we've got everything selected. So let's just clear out of that. And I guess it's just move up, and zoom out a bit. Cool. So now we've got the stage in view in 3D. and I will bring that up whenever needed. Okay, so once I have imported into the show file, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go make my symmetrical selections. And that's because, obviously, to do my cloning, I need to do my symmetrical selection. Yeah, symmetrical. The way my show file setup requires a symmetrical selection. Okay, so let's go. We're gonna for me, I try to keep everything as consolidated and neat. So I don't like to have many views on here. So I've got this presets one, which actually has quite a bit more than presets, but generally they all relate to presets. So I've got all the different kinds of presets you can have, from autumn, position, gobo, color, beam, focus, forms, and all that kind of stuff. And we'll come back to that in a bit. I've then got my groups pool and cloning, but we don't need cloning just yet. So we're going to go to the stage, and I'm going to go to the beams. I'm just going to make a quick symmetrical selection here. So if you've watched Christian Jackson's live stream already, you'll know what a symmetrical selection is, or maybe you just know it already. But basically, all it is something that is, it's kind of like a butterfly effect. If you ever did art in school, they always made you do those things where you would put a bit of paint in the middle or on the side, and then you put the piece of paper together, and then you pull it apart, and it would be mirrored. So the reason this is mirrored is you could see I went this way, and then on this side I went that way. So you can see it's going from the left to the right here, then it's going right to left, left to right, and it is mirrored. So that is the symmetrical selection for that. And if the lights are just in a straight line like this, it's pretty simple, because you can just go and select them all, and then obviously it's symmetrical. So let's quickly just do that. And then LEDs is the same thing, so I'm just going to make the selection. Make the selection. Alright, this is the cool. And then as I'm going along, obviously please ask questions in the comment or chat section, I guess it's called. I don't know what that is doing there. Okay, so I have now made all of my symmetrical selections. So now I can go into my presets window and cloning. And here it's just, this is pretty much a copy and paste thing of Christian Jackson's one. It works pretty well, so I figure, why not? You'll see quite a lot of my show file is stolen from him, and I give him full credit for it. I'm not going to try to steal credit from it. There's quite a bit that I have taken and modified to suit me, and that's what I recommend with a lot of you. You can't just take somebody else's show file and expect it to work for you. You've got to, it's a good place to get started, but then you obviously need to figure out what works for you, what kind of workflow works for you. So when I click on these macros, which was pretty cool, is they're going to ask me which fixtures I want, which of the clone fixtures I want to start and end on. And the reason for that is in my playback window, I've got certain things that need the left and right of the rig to be defined. So, and where it starts and ends, because I'm only cloning 48 beam fixtures, I've actually got 100 clone sources, and I need half of them to be doing one thing, and the other half to be doing another thing. So all I really do is I just say, 3. I just do the quick calculation here to figure out where I need to start. So I'm going to be starting at fixture 3024 and ending at fixture 3074. And then I can say low prime merge, and it does it. Then it's the same with the spot fixtures. So I'm going to be starting at fixture. I can't actually remember how many there are here now. 8, 16, 24, so 12, 3, ooh, that was a mistake. 3136, and it's ending at 3162. So the reason I'm doing that is my beam clone sources are from 3000 to 3099. My spot clone sources are 3100 to 3199. So basically, all it's doing is asking me to find. I wanted to clone from the last in this section, and then it obviously when it does it, it realizes that where the halfway point is and that. So I'll do that. Then low prime merge. Then with the wash ones, it won't ask me to do it because the washes I haven't got anything for. It's the same for that. Low prime merge. Low prime merge. So now if we go into the 3D rig, and I'll quickly just change some of these render settings here. There's more, yep. And we go here, theoretically, hey, it works. Alright, so I guess now is as good a time as any to just go through how my faders are laid out. So the first thing is I've got the 4 faders for beam, spot, wash one, LED one. That's all they are. And then there's a Q-less, exact same button thing as Christian Jackson that goes through. The dimmer chaser are probably different. I don't have like I've got them in more what's the word I'm looking for? More what is the word I'm looking for? They're labeled as to what they kind of do. So I have an even odd out in, so it's moving from the out of the rig into the end of the rig, and then etc etc. So I've got that for the different lights that I have, and then down here I've got buttons that allow me to either strobe the entire rig or just one or two. The random strobe for the entire rig, random strobe for the beams, and then I've got the random strobe for the spots on an X button, yeah. And then those I will obviously use when I need to edit to adjust the speed to suit the rig. So once I've finished cloning the rig, the first thing I'm going to really do is go back into presets and go to this view over here that's called color program. And what this is going to allow me to do is firstly update all these colors to match the beam fixture because it doesn't have color mixing. So with the MA2, if it's a fixture that doesn't have color mixing, it'll find something that kind of resembles it in its mind and just use that. And that doesn't really work. And then after that, I have to get these effect ones working so that the color effect engine works. That's also just from Christian Jackson, and you'll see that a bit later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my group, and I'm going to go to color, obviously open, store merge, red, CTO for the orange. This isn't really an orange in the Sharpies, nope. Yellow, green, aquamarine, cyan, blue, lavender, just use that for violet because it doesn't actually have a defined violet, magenta, and then pink, which is apparently red as well. Once that is done, I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm going to just do that again, just so that these are updated, that they have been selected, because I've got certain things that require the color presets to be selective, and they can't be global, or they can be global, but you have to have actually taken the fixture and stored it to that effect, stored it to that preset. That's covered in the preset tutorial up on the other channel. Then I'm just going to take the LEDs and the spots and just update the colors with them. This is because of the color effect engine, and I'll explain that a bit later. But with these, since both of them are color mixing, we can just use the color picker down here and do it really quickly. I'm going to scroll down. We'll get to why all of these are kind of just things. Let me actually quickly, because I'm not really using that monitor, so let me just go to here for now. Okay, I don't know why. That's weird. I'm trying to figure out why my hotkeys aren't working, because that'll make life a lot easier for me. Yeah, it's there. Control. Click here. Strange. Okay, so let's just get back to it. I'll explain why these that are just labeled here are what's the word I'm looking for? Are there. I'll explain that in a bit. SLS sound and light source. Putting the color effects engine in a layout view. Do you mean you're going to be able to select the colors in the layout view, or everything's going to be in the layout view? If it's everything in the layout view, that's actually pretty simple. and I can help you out a bit with that. So if you just want to let me know what you mean by that, then I can help you. So yeah, that is basically that done. So let's throw ourselves back in play mode. I guess now I might as well just start going through the let me pull this down quickly. I guess I might as well just go through my show file, and then we'll start programming it out. Just want to do something here quickly. Just set that up. Okay, so the way my show file is laid out, as I said, is very similar to Christian Jackson's. On the first screen, I've got the color picker, the main one. There's a tutorial out there for this one that you can go take a look at if you want the macros and to know how it works. Then what's cool is down here I've got because this is just his color effect engine. It works. As I said, if other people have show files and they're going to show you how it works and it works well, why not just use it? I've changed it so that it works a bit better for me, but it can work for anyone. So this is just where I can. This is obviously that. The one thing I have changed though is at the bottom of my color picker, I have these ones that allow me to select the low effect and the low value and the high value. So I can either select them here, as you can see, it will move as I select, or I can select them down here. And that just allows me to do whichever. If this is being used in Ultra, I'll show that a bit later. But I've set it up so that I do still have all the executor labels for an Ultra, but that will come into later. So back to the screen, we've got the color picker. Then down here, this is pretty cool. So what this is I've got to program it still, but instead of just the colors, when I select it changes, or if it's a fade, it fades to that color. I can actually, this allows me to do delays. So the first four allow me to select the direction, so it can either be coming from the outwards of the rig in to out, left to right, right to left, and then I can select time. So it can either be 0 seconds, 2.5, half a second, 1 second. Yeah, so that's cool. We'll get to that later. Then in terms of here, then down here I've got to select the form. So at the moment I've just got it set up to be sine wave or PWM. So, but I'm trying to figure out the what's what I'm looking for, a way where I've only got one macro and then I can kind of just select from a list. I'm trying to figure it out. But hopefully I'll get it done one of these days. Okay, so let's sound and light sorcery. I'm making that view for coloring already. So adding the color effect. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. So are you going to be actually assigning, just to clear up here, you're going to be assigning macros to the layout view, and those are your color effects macros, or is it similar to this where it's just on the side within action buttons? Yep. So that's basically screen 1 during play mode. If I then jump into programming, I've got my effects. The one thing that you will notice about my show file as we go through is that everything is very organized. I've tried to keep it as organized as possible so that I don't just have everything all over the show. With the effects, they're broken up into beam, spot and wash, and color, and dim effects, so that no matter what I'm doing, I can always quickly find what I need, what effect I'm looking for, or what I need to edit, and I can edit it quickly. So the first thing you're gonna notice is that all of these have actually been switched are selective effects, but they weren't. If I go to spot and wash, since I didn't clone any wash fixtures, these are still templates. So when I create them as template effects. Then when I run my cloning macro, here you'll see it actually runs another macro. It runs macro 57. This is for the clones. So we'll go back into that in a bit, but basically it's just got macro 57 actually. All it is running this, which takes the selection for me, so that I don't have to do it. But we'll get. I'm jumping ahead. Let me just get back into effects. So in effects, first at the top, I've just got the predefined effects, and I've just got those in case anybody else is using my show file, and they want to create a couple of they want to create their own effects, and they just use the template effects. So then those are there for them. But I've basically made all my own effects. So I'll go through this now. Okay, sound and art sorcery. Okay, that's actually, it's pretty easy. It's just I'm too lazy to do it. I'd probably, if I was willing to sit down and take the time to write out all the macros to do that, I would. But as I said, I'm too lazy to. You're still going to just be, I'll leave. Okay, so let's just jump back into the effects. The first thing you'll know, so there's only about there's five, there's 9 effects per fixture from the get-go. It's the circle effect, I've called it up-down. So the tilt, side-side, pan. The circle clock, which is just basically a circle, but instead of having that 2 wings thing, like, if I just do it quickly, but instead of having, actually, let me just do it like this rather, but instead of it being that, where it's doing the symmetrical one, it is just going, they're all going in one direction. So if I set this to like 2 groups, for example, you can see that it is, they're all basically going in the same direction. There's no symmetry to it. In 2 groups, it kind of looks symmetrical, but if I go to like 6 groups, not so much anymore. So yeah, so that's what that is. Let's just go to 0 and clear that out. Other one, yeah. So that's basically all the effects I've got, and then it's just a unsymmetrical pan. Dim tilt fly out, fly down, pan dim outwards, and pan dim inwards. So that's mirrored in every single thing. Then down here I've got what's color or CLR slash dim. Just excuse me for 1 second, please. So what these are all the selective ones are just all this row basically is the effects that reference these executors. Then these down here are just template generic dim effects, as I call them. Basically what these are for when I am when I'm busy programming and I want to create effects that follow a certain path, I will select them in the layout view and then apply it to these effects and store it. So that is, yeah. Here I've just got the beam color wipe, and what this is, it just wipes a color across the stage. When we get back into programming, you'll see that. And then up here I've got the color effect macros, which are just the excuse me, which are just the normal. It's the color effect generated from Christian Jackson. If you haven't seen it, go watch the tutorial. He's got it. He'll probably explain it a lot better than me. I guess let's just bite the bullet and jump straight into macros as well. So my macro pool is what I'm pretty proud of at the moment. As you can see, it's also just defined by different views. So I've got general stuff. So this is just all the kind of stuff that doesn't really require its own section, if that makes sense. It's just all like it's these which are at the bottom of my screens. If I hop into screen 3 here, you can see that at the bottom there. It's a couple user variable things and then effect things. So these are my effect updaters. These are what take selection. So the way these work is when taking selection, you can either, because to take selection, you can either select the group, edit the effect, take selection. Or you can select the group, store the effect that's taken selection. So that's what those do. Those save me from having to do that. If I then go into position delay, you'll see this in a bit, but this is actually something I've created where even like you're not using the exact time, but the lights fade into a position. They're not all at once, but it's a delay. So it starts in the center and moves out. You'll see that same for color delay. And these are color picker macros that are widely available, and these are the color effects macros. These are literally just copying images and going to a queue on an executor as well. So yeah, I think let's jump straight back into programming. So when I was talking about those delays, I think let's just get started with the spot delays. I think that's a good idea to get started with because it's the easiest one. Again, my apologies for the sniffles and the coughing. I am very sick at the moment. So let's actually use the beams to dial delays. So for the delays, you don't want asymmetrical selection, but you want a left to right selection. So I'm going to do this with these beams, which are in 3 rows of 16. I'm going to go down, then up, then down, then up, then down, then up, then down, then up, then across, and down, and up, and down again, and up again, and down again, and up again, down, then up. Is this for a show you're working on? No, it is not. This is just for the tutorial for the live stream for today, because it makes laugh. It's just a show file I've got lying around, and it's a show that isn't too intricate or anything. It's one I made for fun in 3D. If you want the 3D stage, I'll put it out. I will put it out there if you want it. Do you want the 3D stage? I'll put it if you want it. Okay, so we've created the delay group. So now what you have to do is you have to actually go and create all because the way this, let me just create them and you understand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that. I'm going to go to position, fade, and I'm going to say 0, store merge, 0.25 through 0 through 0.25. So I'm just going to quickly create these without talking about them too much, because I kind of need to have it done so that's working before I can explain it fully. So what I'm really doing here is assigning fade times to a position pool or to position tile, so that it has position data. Yeah, 7 through 2 through 7. So here I've got defined ones, and since I want it to be symmetrical, the way it's working is what this is saying is the positions will fade 20 seconds. Let me just get this done, and then I'll explain it a bit better. Ooh, Control M, move that there. 30 through 10 through 30. Store there, merge, 50, 20 through 50. Cool. Let me also just quickly create let me quickly create some things here. These are just the generic. Basically, for me, my height on all my playback stuff is jumping ahead. I apologize for the unpreparedness of the stream, if that makes sense. I didn't really have like a script to follow or anything. Okay, so let's hop into my main playback window, if that makes sense. So, as I said, it does follow a similar thing to Christian Jackson's, but it's also quite a bit different. Firstly, for me, I've got 2 rows dedicated to each fixture type. And then in just the positions one, you can see there's 2 queue stacks that are actually mirroring each other. But what's cool is the first queue stack is listening to exec time. So you can see if I bring that up to 4.4, that's going to listen. If I bring it down, it's not. But this one completely ignores queue time. That one is listening to the fade time, which is down here. And that is what I was just programming. So we'll come back to that in a second, but that's how my positions are laid out. And for that, I've got just a normal straight out. Let me actually get lights here, so you can start seeing it and get it onto both monitors. Let me just resize this quickly. Let me pull this down here and just make it a bit smaller. Make this one a bit bigger. Anything else? No, cool. So yeah, so I've got the different levels here. So for me, my tilt values are always, for low it's 20, mid 45, high it's 90, very high it is 120. So that's there. Then in terms of effects, I've got the circle symmetrical one, up down, which is just the tilt, symmetrical pan, dim tilt fly outs, dim pans, and that circle clock we talked about earlier. Let me just quickly fix this. Store merge. The one thing that's a lot different is all of my, I like to have toggles as much as possible, so that I can always just toggle it on and off, instead of having to say toggle off at. So I can just toggle on and off. And then over here I've got phase, which I don't really use that much. I've just got it there. I've got blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I can say go to Q, X, put in however many I want. Direction, forward and backward, groups goes through, and then it has the X option as well. So what I was programming earlier, the fade time, is what's really cool. So I can go through this queue list and select a fade time. So let's select 10. Now if I say go to Q4 and I go to Q4 in this Q stack, you'll see the lights are actually, the middle lights are moving first, and then the outer lights are moving last. So the inner lights will move into position within 10 seconds, and the outer lights take 30 seconds to move in. So the way it's doing it is actually very simple. If we go into this, you can see all it is a CMD thing that's going to that's saying go to 2 macros. Now, if we go to those 2 macros, all they are doing is firstly creating the variables. So the variables is what I was programming earlier, because all these are doing are taking the preset, applying it to the group, and then storing the executor. So here it's creating the actual variable of which one it is. Then this macro just stores all those executors. I think for this I'll actually make a standalone video complete on its own that I will upload hopefully in the next week or so, because that is a how do you do color delay time without a plugin. I will explain that right after this, because it's actually a very similar concept. But I think I will have a video up within the next week or so, hold me to that, of how I create all my delay macros. But basically for the color delay time, okay, this one, all you have to do is create macros that, so you need to first you need to create a preset. So that preset has to be in the color pool. You have to select the group you want it to apply to. So mine's beam delay. You go to color, you go to delay, and I will quickly make mine. So I will make a more in-depth video for this, but basically all you are doing is applying this preset to an executor. So if I'd quickly just make this 5 through 0, cool. So I go here and I say there. You can see, oh wait, why isn't it working? Oh yeah, because I haven't done this one yet. Okay, so yeah, you can see there it is actually working. I would normally sit and program the rest of them, but all you're doing is creating a preset that has the data of your time, and then you're storing the color executors. So you can see that these are macros. If I go into my macros and I go to color delay, you can see firstly all this is doing is going into blind mode. Then it is copying preset X through X at my active preset ones. So it's just giving a reference. And then this is choosing which one is active, and then they both just run this macro that actually stores it. So, okay, let me just restart. All right. So you create this preset that has your time limit. So it's like 0 through 0 to 0.25 through 0. And that's all you have to do. So all it really has to do is say group X at preset X, store your executor. And then that will, I've made mine a bit differently, and I might release the macros. I'll see how I feel, but I'll have a video up hopefully in the next week of in their entirety of how these work. But as I said, all you're doing is you have to store the preset, the delay time, and that'll be under your select your attribute down here. You'll go to delay and you'll type it in there, and then you need to use through THRU. So you need to say you want it to delay 1 through X through 1. So 1 through 0.5 through 1. Shouldn't it be blind edited? It can be blind edited, it can be blind. It works. If there's somebody smarter than me out there who really says no, it can't, go check it out. It does work. I was having weird issues with blind edit for some reason. Maybe I'm just inept. But I've just started saying blind and it works. So yeah, so that's all those macros have to do. Does that make sense to you, SLS Sound and Art Sorcery? I'm just going to wait on him to say if that makes sense to him. But let me just try to explain it again. So all it's doing is saying this group has this delay time applied to it for the color attribute. And then you store the executor, and the executor then you still merge the executor. And then the executor still has all that information retained. So I will release a video on that in a couple of days to make sure that everyone understands that, and that'll cover the color ones and the position ones in more detail. But yeah, so it's the one thing I quite like because it just looks a lot more natural. And then I can actually change the speed of it with this rate master to find a custom speed that I want. This is just rate 1 that I've got set up for it to listen to. Yeah. So that is that. Does anyone have any questions so far besides the color picker or the my playback window? Or about it, yeah. Anyone have any questions? Okay. So I guess we've covered that a bit now. I'm just jumping all over the place. Hopefully, if I ever do this, okay, let's just continue about this playback window. So we've covered the movements. So yeah, as I said, it's just up. Don't fly down. We just bring the speed down a bit. Out, in. Then it's just up and out. These I've got to just reprogram a bit. Down and in. This is meant to be up and in, but it's not working. Yeah. So then, where do you have your gobos? I'm about to come to that. So then, under on the far right in the second row per fixture, I have my gobo and prism stuff. For beams, I can have the option of 2 prisms. For gobos, for spots, I have the option of 1 prism, 2 gobos. Beams, it's 2 prisms, 1 gobo. Generally, beams don't have many options for gobos, so that's why I've chosen to do that. And the way this works is I need to program it still, but basically I can say active here, then I can change the speed of it using this fader, which is pretty cool, but you have to program that per Showfile. It goes the same on all of these for the gobo and for the prism. Then over here I've just got gobo spin. So yeah, that should answer your question. Down here I've got four macros, and what these macros are they either stomp effects or they reset the prism stuff. So by reset the prism stuff, I mean and make sure all of these are off, and it brings that fader to 0. So that's and then these macros just stomp stuff. So if I just bring a couple of effects, you can see stomps there, that stomps there, and all it's doing is saying off executor X through X. Yeah, so that's all that's doing. Any other questions so far? It's still doing. Still running that. Okay. So yeah, that's what that does really. I guess let's hop back to the executors. Okay, so after the first 4, let's just do buttons. So I've explained all of these. Then I've got rig 1 and rig 2. These aren't pair buttons like Christian Jackson has. I don't like those, to be honest. These are you press one, you press the other one. If you press both of them, the whole rig's on. What? Then down here is just color bumps. It bumps the entire rig to white, red, yellow, magenta, lavender, excuse me, and magenta. Then back onto the faders. After the first 4, I've got 2 empty ones that I can use for either. It's usually would be atomics and blinders or whatever other fixtures I might have. Obviously, there's a wash fixture. This will move down, and then if there's another LED fixture, will move there. Then I have the color effect fader. So obviously, if anything was on that was set to color mixing, this would affect it. Prism speed fader. Then these are pretty cool. These allow me to manually do like a fly out of a beam of a fixture. So I've got it set just for the spot and the beams at the moment. So I kind of like that because if I need to find a level that I don't exactly have programmed, I can manually get to it. These are the effect size faders. There's my tutorial out about that. Then I've just got a dim speed. This affects both my dim effects. So here you see as I tap it, it'll go to the speed. And then this is the movement one. So I quickly give that some. So I quickly do that. You see as I increase the movement, it gets faster. As I bring it down, it gets slower. So yeah, that's that. Stomp. And that is pretty much my show file. Obviously there's a lot more behind the scenes of it, of just how all the macros work. Maybe next time I do it, I don't know, I'm looking at the time and thinking of whether or not I should end this. But maybe I'll do an entire live stream just dedicated to the macros and how they do everything. Yeah, do you use your user keys? By user keys, are you talking to user 1 and user 2? So this. Well, yeah, I clearly do use them. So yeah, so I do use them mainly just for groups for the oh yeah, sure, I've got that set to freaking. I've got them set to always be X keys, but yeah, I mainly use them just for views of that, or for group masters, or just for macros, like offs every single thing in the playback window. This throws me to program mode, play mode. This fixes everything. Don't ask that. Just creates that creates all my user variables again. And there's something called start lull, which makes all of my things a fixture. But oh yeah, that doesn't work. That's broken at the moment. Then there's clock lull, which puts a lot of clocks on every screen. And there's just some action buttons, Lewis stuff, and a couple more macros. So I'm just going to throw myself back into play. Yep, does that answer your question, SLS Sound and Light Sorcery? I don't use those U1, U2, U3, U4 keys. I don't know what those do. I just use those two. I don't think I have any, I don't have anything under user 2. Yep, so that is basically my entire show file. There's not much to it really. Screen 4 is just generally a copy of screen 3. I need to actually change some stuff here. This is still screen 4. I've also tried to just get it as like condensed to light. I mean, I can use an ultralight. I've got a macro here called ultralight. What that does is I need to be able to see what cue my faders are, and I can't do without it. So it puts the small screen into that. Then it puts this over here, gets rid of that, and unfortunately it cuts off this stuff. But I'll probably figure out a way soon. Yeah, there we go. I can just zoom to fit it. Yeah. So that is what all those macros do. I'll throw myself back into play mode here. Do we have any other questions so far? Just like taking a look through here. Am I talking too fast? Because I know I usually talk too fast. I'm sorry. That's just me. I need to focus on not doing it so much. But I do, unfortunately. Yeah, and yeah, I can play an advert at the moment. I should do that. Okay, well, I need to go to the bathroom quickly, so I am going to play an advert. Sorry about that, to Okay, cool. Half the people didn't leave because I just said it to play an ad. Okay. I speak at a good speed. That is awesome because I'm always told I speak way too fast, and I try not to. But if you speak fast, you know the troubles of not speaking too fast. I'm also eating something quickly in the background. Okay, wow, we've been streaming for about 49 minutes now. That's pretty cool. The stream will be available on my channel after it concludes, so you will be able to go back and watch. And then, as I said, I will get into creating those tutorials about the delay time macros. In the meantime, is there any other questions you guys might have? That's weird. I just press play. Oh, yeah, it's some people get that. But okay, any other questions, guys? Anything? All 9 of you. Settings. Automatically block bad words. No, bad words are awesome. Don't let anyone ever not let you. SL is sound and outsource. That's where the John Mobile say I'm not allowed to stream to mobile yet. Weird. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So that is basically my show file. There's not much to it. Obviously, all of these positions are just sitting and programming them, and I'm too lazy to do that right now, so I won't. I think next time I stream, maybe I'll stream next week again, but it'll just be me continuing to program on this. I obviously will not be releasing the show file. This is my personal show file. I don't share it. I'll do a PSR so that you guys have the stage, and I'll upload that and put the link in the description of the stream so that you can download the 3D stage if you want to mess around with it. And then yeah, so I'll get those macro tutorials out within the next week or so. I will try and live stream maybe a couple times a month. This was more of just, this wasn't really meant to be a full stream. It was meant to be more just a test to figure out what's going through not what's going through. We plan on doing a couple streams to the Grand MA2 tutorials channel that we've got going, me and Extreme Tech. So if you make sure you subscribe to that, because we will. I know we said we'd be uploading a lot more to that, and we didn't really keep our promise, but we will soon be uploading a lot of tutorials to that. So make sure to subscribe to that channel. I mean, yeah, if there's no more questions, I'll probably end it in a couple minutes. Let's hit an hour, and then I'll end it. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Really, in my show file, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So I've forgotten half of what I've programmed. There's a lot of stuff that is probably redundant and isn't needed that I could go and just that I could actually go and get rid of, but I'm too lazy to do it. Honestly, I'm just too lazy to sort through what variables I'm still using, what variables I'm not using. If anyone wants this desktop image, just say so. I don't know if anyone's a Rick and Morty fan here. SLS Sound Last Watch, you are more than welcome to send me your show file. If you guys want to send me your show file to take a look through it, I'm happy to do so. I'll never share it with anyone. I know it's, for other people, show file is a very personal kind of thing. And I'm happy to look through it. And as I said, my email's in the description for pretty much all my videos. If you send me an email, I'll usually reply within 24 hours. I'll try my best to help you. Obviously, there's a point where I do have to say, okay, I'm not tech support. There is certain things you have to figure out on your own, and I will if I feel that it's taking up too much time. But I will, for the most part, just say, okay, here's what's wrong. This is what you need to do. And as I said, literally my emails all over. I'm obviously not going to put my phone number out there because that is just not smart. But yeah, my email's out there. So yeah, just pop me an email, put comments on my videos. If you have any other questions, and then I will try to get back to them as soon as possible. Are there any other questions before we end here? Oh, wow, there's like a 13-second delay. That's crazy. I'm trying to think here, because I've given you guys a basics. I think the next streams will be either, my streams will always be on like a Saturday or a Friday. But I think that in the next stream I'll start going through how I program my show file more effectively. I need to get my third monitor set up here so that so it's a bit easier to work on. Then yeah, if there's no other questions, I think I will have to stop it now. I'm trying to think if there's something I haven't really covered here yet. So obviously I just basically stayed on working with the beams today. But then next week I will go through, or not next week, whenever I do my next stream, I will go through everything else in my show file. But then, as I said like a million times, I will try and get that preset and delay thing done within the next couple. Hopefully, I will try. You know what? I will try and have that video out by Friday the 21st, I believe. I'll try, actually, Saturday. I'll try and have it uploaded on Saturday. You can hold me to that. And yep, that's about it. I'm gonna end the stream now. So thanks for tuning in. If you've got any questions regarding anything, if you think I spoke too fast, put it in the description. I will, not the description. I can edit that. Fuck. Put it in the comments, and I will try and address my speed in the next video. But currently, it is really hard to speak slower. Then if you have any question about anything I've gone through in the show file, please just ask. The color picker tutorial and effect size fader tutorials are both on my channel already. So if you haven't got those in your show file and you want to learn how to make them, go there and watch those tutorials and you'll be able to do it. Yep, so otherwise get subscribed and look out for the next videos. And now I'm gonna let it catch up with me for a bit. But yeah, that's it. So I'm just gonna see if there's any other questions, and then I will end the video. Du-du-du. Cool. I think I'm going to end this now.